Welcome to Belong and Bloom, a sanctuary for Black women to rest, heal, and grow.
I'm Marianne.
And I'm Vanetta. We're qualified therapists and coaches, and we're so glad you're here.
This is a space to slow down, gain perspective, and reconnect with your purpose, power, and peace.
Through honest conversations and shared wisdom, we'll explore what it means to truly belong to ourselves and to our community.
Healing isn't a solo journey. It's something we grow into together. When we belong, we bloom. Hello and welcome. So I'm your host, Marianne.
And I'm Vanetta.
And so we are so excited because this is our very first episode of Belong and Bloom. And we thought that we'd start by letting you know who we are, what we're about, and what this journey together is going to look like. So we're super excited to have this time with you.
Yes, absolutely. Excuse my voice, but I'm excited to be here with you.
I guess this is what it means to bring our authentic selves onto this podcast, right?
Because we're waiting to be perfect. This podcast is never going to get started.
Oh, no, exactly. We just have to be our real selves and our true selves.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Marianne, who are you?
Oh, okay. I mean, that's a big question. Who am I? So I guess from a professional standpoint, I'm a counselor and I'm also a coach. My area of specialism is actually to do with relationships, how people relate to themselves, how they relate to other people, and how they relate to their work and their passions. So that's really the thing that gets me up in the morning and drives me. Outside of that, on a more personal standpoint, I am a child of God. I'm a Christian, and I love the fact that my identity is hidden in Christ, and I'm able to express that in all that I do.
Yes.
I am a super happy wife, married to the most amazing husband out there. He is my best friend. We just live life to the fullest.
Yeah.
And I'm a mum, I'm a new mum. My sweet little baby girl is just under 2 years old, and she is the joy of my life.
That's
wonderful. So, Vanessa, I want to hear
who sees the joy on your face. It's so contagious.
Thank you. This is what it's like to live a life where, it's a mixture of good choices, intentional choices, and just, God's goodness and his provision in life, so absolutely. I'm grateful. I'm grateful.
I completely agree. Yeah.
Well, I'm curious, Vanetta, because I'm going to chuck the question right back at you. Who is Vanetta?
It is a big question, to be fair. Probably we should have started a bit gentler, but so again, from a professional perspective, I am also a therapist and a coach. I work specifically focusing on emotional regulation, kind of mental health resets, supporting individuals. I particularly work with Black women, but in general, supporting individuals in learning how to feel safe on the inside as they engage with a world that is not always safe on the outside. I also specialize in imposter syndrome. I actually wrote a book on that as well. But I just generally enjoy helping people manage their mental health and build on what I like to call emotional wealth. So that intersection of mental health, relationships, as Marianne has already identified, that's so important, and how to practically pursue their purpose. On a personal perspective, I am also a Christian. As Marianne said, I'm grateful for the identity I have in Christ, because that is the anchor and the center of everything. I also get to do life with my amazing husband, who is like a multi-hyphenate, super creative in the most craziest of ways.
Story.
And we also get to experience and enjoy life to the best of our abilities. And we have been blessed, truly, truly blessed with two little girls, which I'm so grateful for, to be a mama bear, really. Yeah, so that's kind of a little bit about who I am, and yeah.
I love that. Do you see how like both of us have got the biggest smiles?
Yeah. And I love it because we also have the smiles for each other because we know each other's families as well.
It's
So
so
that's
nice. It's so
yeah.
nice. Well, I guess it might be interesting for, our listeners, our viewers to know that we had a really lovely time together not too long ago, where my husband and I and my daughter went to visit Vanetta and her family. And we just had the best time, didn't we?
It's wonderful. It's like one of those things where you feel like you've known each other for ages, but actually you
Yeah,
haven't as much. I mean, we've known each other longer than the families have connected, but we just had a wonderful time. We
I
just had
love
a
that. I love that. I love that. Well, this is great. And I'm just, I'm just feeling the joy already,
Mhm.
from this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I was thinking, Vanetta, what would be quite nice is if we did sort of like a quick fire round of questions,
Mhm.
so that people just get to know us a little bit. So I can ask you a few questions and you can ask me a few questions and let's see where we
Yeah.
land.
Yeah, I love that. Let's go. Let's go.
All right, let's do this. So tell me, um, let's think in true therapeutic style, okay? If
Yes.
you had to think about a
Mhm.
color that
Mm.
represents the season of life that you're in right now, what color would you choose?
Ooh, that represents a season of life that I'm in right now.
Mm.
I'll go with purple. I'll go with purple, and the people who know me are like, "Yeah, obvious." 'Cause purple is like it's one of my favorite colors, but it's actually kind of like a family color. And one
Mm.
of the reasons why is because purple for me exudes royalty, but it
Mm.
also exudes wisdom, like deep rootedness, authenticity. I feel like when you are royal, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, um, there is an anchoredness that you have. So I
Mm.
think for me, that's what I feel like this season represents for me, that I'm stepping more into the fullness of who I am. I'm not quite in my 40s yet, but not that far from it. So I feel like that's what I'd want to be like. When people say, "Oh, when I grow up, I want to be like," when I grow up, I want to be
Mm.
anchored in wisdom, rooted in authenticity, fully understanding my identity, my authority, my alignment. Yeah.
Love that.
Mm,
I love that,
mm,
just even the clarity in which you use to be able to describe what purple means to you. And
mm,
what's beautiful is how the values were coming out.
mhm,
Values are
mhm.
so important. They shape so much of who we are. And it was so beautiful to see that. Oh, I love purple. I
I
love
wanna
purple.
I wanna sorry, I was gonna say, I wanna flip the same question back to you actually, because colors, as we were saying, particularly when it comes to psychology, are so meaningful as well.
Yeah. It's interesting that you use purple. Whenever I go like to get my makeup topped up, foundation and little bits and bobs, every time I pick up a lipstick color or like a blusher, the staff in the store are always like, purple's your color, it goes with your skin. So for
Mhm.
me, I attribute very much purple to makeup and the things that allow my skin to really just radiate.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but color, I think it would be green. There's
Mm,
something about green. I mean, you can see the green in the background. There's something about green that has always been there with me, even
mhm,
since childhood. And I'm sure in one of our episodes we're going to unpack, some of our experiences. But green, because there's something quite fresh about it. Um,
mm,
and in each season, as we journey through the ebbs and the flows, it's
mm.
always important to have that sense of hope, and
Yeah,
that sense of joy and peace.
yeah.
And I'm just reminded of so many moments in my life where I've had to turn to scripture that calls me into a place of rest and just resting in my identity in Christ and just resting in the values that I have. And
Mhm,
I'm reminded of Psalm 23 that talks about being led to the green pastures and the still
Yeah.
waters so that we get that refreshing for our souls. So
Mhm.
green, just for me, it means that in this season, I'm leaning into what's hopeful. I'm
Yeah.
excited about new beginnings and fresh beginnings.
Yeah.
And I'm just joyfully expecting, what the future has to hold. So definitely green. And
Mm.
and I look great in green, actually. And and what's interesting is my husband and I,
Mm.
um, but green actually is quite meaningful for both of us as well. And I remember
Mm.
when we were dating, and we sort of had one of our first dates, and we both turned up wearing green, and we were just
Oh,
chucking.
wow. Okay.
We're like, "What's your favorite
Nice.
color?" Like green. I like green. So I was like, "We should get married."
If it were only that easy.
Exactly. You like green, I like green. Let's get married.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah, I would say that definitely for sure.
I love that. Ah, that's so beautiful. That is so beautiful. Green is such a powerful color, and it's interesting that you mentioned it because if it was for me as an individual, green was definitely always my color before I met my husband, and kind of purple became the family color. Green was always my color, and I agree with you. We look good in green. We look good in green. Our skin tone looks fantastic in green. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all. And I'm smiling. I was smiling as you were quoting Psalm 23 because my eldest is 3 now, and so we're getting to a stage where she's learning things, like memorizing things. And from when she was younger, we were teaching her Psalm 23. So every evening we pray it together. To the point now, whenever we ask her, my daughter, what's the family motto? And she goes, "In green pastures." And I'm like, you know what? You're actually not that wrong. You're not that wrong. May that be the family motto, that we will rest in green pastures that the Lord has taken us to. So absolutely. I love hearing that.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it? That is really beautiful. And
Yeah.
I guess what's interesting is that we're both mentioning our husbands, and we're mentioning, our children.
Mm.
And it goes to show, just like when we think about our identities, there's so many different roles that we have,
Yes.
and so many different responsibilities and hats that we have. And that's
Mm.
all part of who we are, isn't it?
Absolutely. Exactly. We're
Yeah.
not in isolation. Yeah.
I love that. So, another fun question, and this one is to do with holidays because I
Yeah.
love traveling, and so I just
Yeah, I
want
do. Yes.
travel question. Okay, so Vanetta,
Mhm.
your dream holiday destination, with or without the kids, what would it be? Where would it be?
Ooh. So we've spoken about this actually already. And I think my top one right now is Greece. I've never been. I hear it's fantastic. It's not too far flight wise if it was with children,
Mm,
but it also does really good hot weather.
yes.
So yeah, I think that would be it at the moment. I want to see the whole world, but at the moment, I think Greece is on my top, yeah, top one. Really.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Greece. You know what? There is so many. There are so many places that you can explore in Greece.
Mm,
You could spend a whole lifetime traveling through Greece.
mm, mm,
I
yeah.
love that. I love that. And for you, when you're on holiday, are
Mm,
you an adventure person, or are you more of a let me just chill and just soak in the sun type person?
mm. I think the older I get, the more I like both. I think when I was younger, I was like, yeah, let's cram as much into this holiday as possible so that every moment is like soaked up because I love to, get to know the sites, get to know the history of a place. I love food. And so love
Mm.
to get to know the local cuisine and all of that. So often my itinerary used to be really full of traveling when I was younger, whereas now I'm like, yeah, we need a break somewhere in here. There's only so much you can do with 2 children in tow.
Yeah.
There's only so much you can do as a parent, even if the children are not necessarily there. Like, we just get tired quicker.
It's so true.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so interesting. Sometimes, I always wonder if our younger selves were to come on holiday with us now, if they'd be like, "Come on, you're so boring. Come on."
Yeah, literally, literally. I'm like, "No, pace it, pace it."
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. I love that. Yeah, it's interesting because I'm similar to you in that the younger me, super adventurous. The minute
Mm.
I would land in a country, I'd be like, right, out the door. I didn't have time to pack. I'm like, I don't have time to waste. Now I'm like, let me chill. Let me just like sit here for a moment and take it all in.
Exactly. Arrive in all myself, yeah.
I love that. I love that. Yeah, I love Greece actually.
Mhm.
Definitely, I love Greece. There's the what's it the Cyclades Islands where you've got Santorini, Mykonos, Naxos. Those are absolutely beautiful. And when I was pregnant with my baby girl, she's so beautiful. Um, my husband and I went to Naxos and Santorini, and it was sort of like a baby moon type thing.
Yes.
Oh, you know.
Amazing.
So it was
Um,
really nice doing that.
uh, I
Yeah.
love that. So I know that you love Greece, and that you've been a few times now. What would your top one place be? I know you're going soon as well, but what would your
Yeah, we're gonna go to Corfu actually next week. I'm praying for good weather. I looked at it and Vanessa, it looks like it's gonna rain all week. Oh,
No way!
one time we go, that's when the rain it's like the London weather, UK weather is just following us. So let's just hope it changes.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
but the place that is so close to my heart is
Mm.
Japan. Hands down, dream destination, Japan. I've been a number of times and I don't know what it is. Every
Mm,
time I step there, I
mm,
just feel like my heart and my mind, they meet each other, and
mm.
I just feel chilled, you know?
Wow.
So definitely dream destination would be to go back to Japan, but maybe do like 6 months, there, just like
Wow.
relaxing, taking it all in, the
Yeah.
food, the just nature, just how
Mm,
lovely everyone is, and just it's chilled vibes. You know, everyone talks about like soft life and, you
yep.
know, being able to just like rest. For me, that's what Japan is. When I go
Mm,
there, I feel like I can rest and I can really enjoy that softness to my
that's so
identity.
interesting. I love that. I love that you found a space that actually almost automatically regulates your nervous system for you. That's amazing.
Yeah, definitely. I love it. And I think it's like going there, what's really interesting is seeing older people, you know,
Mm,
especially because I'm based in London and
mhm,
it's very rare to see a lot of old people out and
mhm,
about. You know,
mhm. Yeah.
it's young vibes everywhere. And it's so
Yeah.
nice to go to, you know, a country where you're going to be served in the shops by someone who is 70 plus, and they're the
Oh,
ones who are in the retail stores. They're the ones who are serving you food in the
great.
restaurant. And it's like, wow, I love this, you know, and I think it brings a calmness to it as well. Just like this sort of like, I've lived my life and I know who I am, you know, and I just love that. So yeah,
That's
definitely I would say
wonderful.
Japan.
Okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
On the topic of kind of family and traveling, or more so family, I'd love to know what is kind of a favorite family tradition for you or a moment that brings you joy?
Ah, okay. So I'm someone who loves fun. Okay.
Mm,
So it's amazing that I have a husband who also appreciates the power of fun, you know.
ah,
I think
yeah,
sometimes people underestimate fun as just like, you know, this thing, but it's
mm,
so powerful. So for my husband and I, one of our values, and actually a
mm,
value that oftentimes when we're running workshops for couples, um,
mhm.
we often talk about this idea of fun, which is known as recreational intimacy. This
Ooh,
opportunity.
okay.
Yes, yeah, so, like, whenever, you know, I'm working with couples, I go through, like, the different types of intimacy, you know, and one of them is fun, you know, and
Yeah.
recreational intimacy is all about being able to, you know, have shared hobbies, shared
Mhm,
activities that
mhm.
actually allow it actually creates space for that emotional connection. It creates
Yeah,
space for you to be your true and authentic self. So
yeah.
definitely fun is a core value that my husband and I have, and it's a
Mhm.
core tradition that we bring into our lives together, and our daughter gets to enjoy that. So every
Yeah.
day you will find us outside, taking a
Mm.
walk, enjoying time together, spending time either in there's a local art gallery nearby that
Mm.
we love going to, and there's a beautiful park. So we have like our daily time together where we'll
Yeah.
go enjoy some outdoor time, some fun play in the park or a little picnic. And
Mhm.
then we'll go into the exhibition space and see what they've got for that week or that month. And then we'll
Mhm.
have a nice little drink together. We love an oat chai latte or a coconut chai latte. So we'll have that together. And our little
Wow.
baby will have we bought her a tiny little baby chino cup. She'll have her,
Adorable.
yes, so cute. She has her little frothy oat milk that she will just be like drinking. And what it does for us is it allows us to really see each other,
Mm.
and build that sense of connection and intimacy. And I always
Yeah.
say intimacy, a good way of remembering what it stands for is into me see. And
Yeah.
that's exactly what fun allows us to do. It
Yeah.
allows us to really see each other, to laugh together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful, and I love how you've made it generational as well.
Yeah.
Something that you've cultivated with your husband and is now being passed on to your, beautiful baby daughter. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you tell me, what are the Morrison traditions?
Well, we were quite intentional actually before we got married in kind of thinking about what type of traditions do we wanna have and be known for and pass on to our children. And I love how you're saying, like, I think a daily tradition for us is around food. We
Mm.
truly enjoy the experience of creating it, of sharing it, of exploring different cultures through their food.
Mm.
And my husband is very gifted in cooking, so that makes it quite easy for us to enjoy that on a daily basis, really. One tradition that was a surprise that it's become such an important family tradition, just again based on our backgrounds, and like we said, we'll probably share about this
Mm.
next time. Is Christmas. That's become really important to us, which is beautiful because it is quite redemptive for
Yeah.
both of us. But so we've become those people that I used to be sick of. Like counting down, clarifying or, starting to plan how we want it to look like. But it's very much around hosting others
Mm.
in that time and during that season because we can understand how difficult it can be for people. So it's about creating experiences for our children, but also people around us to really be poured into with love during that season. That I
Oh.
think is what it's about. Like I remember a couple of Christmases ago, my husband and I hosted quite a few people at ours, and it was tiring, but we both came away from that and we're like, this is probably the best Christmas we've ever had. We've given more than we've ever given, but it's the best Christmas we've ever had because we just get this opportunity to bless others in that space. Um, and so, yeah, that is a family tradition that I definitely would love to pass on to the girls to kind of, it doesn't have to be around Christmas, but to create
Mm.
an atmosphere in which people can feel seen, in which people can feel celebrated, in which they feel welcomed. Yeah, that's kind of one of the things that we really enjoy.
Wow, that is so beautiful, isn't it? Just this sense of togetherness, and to do
Mm,
that around food. And food is so powerful, because for a meal to be prepared, it shows that time has been invested, it
mm,
shows that love has been invested, thought has been invested. And then
yeah,
to sit around the table and just to be able to just see each other, talk, laugh, share
mm,
stories, that is
yeah,
powerful. That is so powerful. And for your girls as well, I think it helps to build a real sense of confidence as well. Them being able to see mum and dad slowing
mm,
down the pace to have time to enjoy a good meal, but also
yeah,
this idea of bringing others into that shared space. And, there's those conversations that happen, the soft information that's passed around and the stories. It's beautiful. Oh,
yeah.
I love that. I love that. And your husband is an amazing cook.
Yes. He is. Yeah.
Amazing cook is and you are both so good at hosting, and my
Yeah.
husband and daughter were so blessed to have just enjoyed that time that we spent together recently.
It was an absolute joy. We loved it. We loved spending time with you. So yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, what's interesting is that, both of us have had the similar professional journeys in the fact that we are coaches and we're counselors. Um,
Mhm.
for you, Vinita, when you think about coaching and counseling, what really drives your passion, to do the work that you do?
Yeah. Um, it's funny because I think it extends from what I just shared with regards to why we enjoy hosting people during the
Mm,
Christmas season. I think one of my core values is for people to feel significant,
mm,
to be seen. Um, and so whether it is through counseling or coaching, the what I want to support my clients with is the understanding that you are significant, you are worth being seen. And whether it's trauma or issues that you want to process or specific goals that you want to achieve, it starts with acknowledging and recognizing that your story matters, that you have
mm.
value, and then meeting you there to then achieve whatever you want to achieve.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. It's so powerful, isn't it? So
Mm.
powerful. And I'm sure all the clients that you work with can really feel that passion from you,
Oh,
and
thank
that desire, to really support them in their stories and in their
you.
journeys. That's
Mhm.
beautiful. That is beautiful. And what's because I know for you, emotional wealth is it's just at the core
Yeah,
of all that you do. And I just love the fact that you call it emotional wealth.
yeah.
Tell us more. Tell us more. Why you go with that sort of emotional wealth type of slogan?
Yeah, I think emotional wealth for me is kind of like yeah, like you were saying, at the core of well-being.
Mm,
Because for me, there's three kind of core areas to emotional wealth. The first is managing our mental health. And so
mm,
that's, we go into emotional regulation, again, establishing that internal sense of safety, even when the external isn't necessarily safe.
mm.
It's reclaiming that internal sense of safety as well, where trauma may have, disrupted that in some way. The second element is resetting relationships. So once you have an understanding of, who you are, what your worth is and value is, being able to engage in relationships in a new way with that
Mhm.
worth and value carried forward. Recognizing how are you going to communicate in those relationships, what type of boundaries are you setting in those relationships. And then the third pillar of emotional wealth is about practically pursuing purpose. So how do
Mm,
we tie this all together, who you are and how you relate to others, into, okay, so what is your place in the world, where
yeah.
are you functioning, at your best, and leading at your best, serving at your best, and all of that. And so I think for me, that's why I coined it emotional wealth, because it's it's at the core of living a life that is sustainably wealthy. We're not talking about
Mm.
financial wealth necessarily, but it's kind of, I see it as a foundation to then sustainably and securely build any other form of wealth on.
Yeah, I love that. It's about really living an enriched life, isn't it?
Yes,
I
yes,
love
absolutely.
I love that. Beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. So now over to you, Marianne, because I know there's a wealth, using the word again, but there is a wealth of of passions inside of you, and how you
Yeah.
engage with clients and why you do what you do.
Yeah, it's so interesting because for me, I always say that I have a portfolio career
Mm,
because I started out in higher education and really working around that career development and supporting
mm,
people in developing a real sense of clarity around their leadership identity, ways in which people relate within teams, etc. And so I
mm,
sort of started off on the coaching journey and supporting
mm,
people to build a real strong narrative with their careers. But then
mm,
after a while, I realized, you know what? The that was sort of the cherry on top. oftentimes we need to go under the surface and to
Mhm.
understand what's our story, what has brought us
Yeah.
here, how do we relate to ourselves, and how do we relate to others. And then that took me down the counseling route, where I
Mhm.
really wanted to bring those two things together,
Mhm.
a sense of people's real understanding about their story and sort of their genesis, if that makes
Yeah.
sense, and how that
Absolutely.
influences the different ways in which they show up. And
Mhm.
then when you have that sense of awareness, you want to put it into action, right?
Yes.
And that's where the coaching comes in. You know,
Mhm.
now that I know my values, now that I
Mhm.
know what I'm about,
Mhm.
now that I understand the things that trigger me and the things that I don't have capacity for, what
Mm.
do about that? And so,
Yes.
you know, that's my passion. It's really giving people insight so that
Mhm.
they can then act from a place of intentionality and a place of
Mhm.
awareness.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, that's always driven the passion that I have. And
Yeah.
I'm super, super passionate about couples um,
Mm.
because, you know, two people coming together and having their own stories, their own
Mm.
experiences, that's a
Mm.
beautiful thing, but it can also be chaos if it's not done well.
Mhm. Mhm.
It can be fire. And
Yep.
so I'm passionate about working with couples because,
Yeah.
you know, when a couple come together, there's something amazing that can come out of that.
Mm.
Families can be brought out of that. A
Yeah.
whole, this we're talking legacy here, you
Yeah.
know, history
Absolutely.
is being formed. And so
Mm.
I love the idea of working with two people to reconcile their differences and to be
Mhm.
able to create something that's new and powerful and effective. And that's always been my passion. I've not grown up in an environment where marriage has been done well. And so
Mm.
I'm passionate about being able to support people to build healthy and lasting marriages. Mm.
Yeah. Wow. That's powerful. That's so powerful. And I think it kind of feeds well into having kind of explored both of our passions, feeds well into why we started Belong and Bloom, you know?
Mm. Yeah, it really does. Because I guess for me and you, Vanetta, we recognize that there's so many topics that we encounter in our lives and also with the clients that we work with through counseling and coaching. And what we want to do is essentially bring some insight, some wisdom, being able to merge that professional insight as counselors and coaches, but
Yeah.
also having real talk and a real sense of sisterhood in what we're
Yes.
sharing to anyone that's listening or viewing what we're doing, for sure. Yeah,
Absolutely. And
loads of
again,
topics.
also recognize oh, sorry, I was just gonna say recognizing just the power of, belonging and community, and making space for that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Because, we can't do life on our own, and we really do need to do life in community. And I know
Yeah.
for me and you, in our own life journeys, community has been so important in shaping us. And there's
Absolutely.
something powerful about sharing, whether it's your lived experience or sharing knowledge or insight or wisdom, that can be
Mm.
really empowering. And we
Yeah.
also know many people live very isolated lives. Oftentimes, you can be surrounded by loads of people, but you can feel so alone and so unseen. And I guess we're hoping that, Belong and Bloom will be just something that signals to people that you're not alone. You know,
Yeah.
you do have a sense of belonging.
Mhm.
You are welcome here, and we can grow together.
That's it. Absolutely. So,
Yeah.
yeah, what you can expect from the episodes that are coming up, they are topics like rest and self-compassion, really looking at how we can slow down and how that is part of our resistance. We've heard and maybe also read the book Rest is Resistance. And we really want to walk that out with you, see what does that look like? How do we recover from burnout? How do we tackle, over functioning, imposter syndrome, all these things that impact on the way we see ourselves.
Mm, exactly. And also, we're going to be looking at the different roles and responsibilities that we hold. Vanetta and I, we're mums, we're partners, we're daughters, we're professionals. And we recognize that oftentimes people don't always take the time to slow down and recognize these roles that they hold, the impact that it's having, which
Mhm.
roles are energizing you and which roles are draining you. Let's unpack that. Let's really uncover that. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and also another thing is looking at vulnerability as well. This word gets thrown around in terms of like, it's good to be vulnerable, it's so important. But we're going to look at that. What does that actually mean? What does it mean to be seen as your authentic self? And
Mhm.
sometimes there's a dangers to that as well,
Yeah.
having the boundaries around vulnerability and knowing where it's truly a safe space and where it's not as well. Yeah, so lots to unpack.
Yeah, we're looking forward to future episodes, and we hope you join us on the journey.
Thank you for spending this time with us here at Belong and Bloom.
We hope today's conversation offered you a moment to breathe, reflect, and remember you are not alone on this journey.
If this episode spoke to you, share it with a sister, a friend, or a loved one who might need the same reminder.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen so you never miss an episode. Until next time, take care.
And keep blooming.